Trump's up there talking about how he's going to obliterate the deep state, and somehow people feel like their freedom is in some way in peril if they steal documents from the government, and then the FBI comes and they obstruct justice, and then they lie to him and they pretend they gave him that's something that the common person can really, I think, relate to. Here is a Trump supporter outside the Miami courthouse with a Fox Business correspondent. Don't know exactly who it is. And here is that supporter.
Country. The most innocent man that's ever been in the White House, Donald J. Trump. The best president we've ever had. 45/47. He's coming back. This is the longest witch hunt going on 8 years now since he came down the escalator.
Do you believe
the guy's an American hero?
Do you believe there's a two-tier system of justice? Do you believe this is unfair?
Obviously. I don't even know how anybody can ask that with a straight face. There's obviously a two-tier justice system. Why is the Clinton crime family running wild? Why is Beijing Biden and the money laundering operation that Hunter Biden started out of Ukraine? He started the war on Ukraine 5 years ago when he was working for Burisma.
Last question. If Trump were to get reelected, should he consider a pardon for the Biden family?
Absolutely not. They're a crime family. You're either an American or a Democrat these days. There's no way to be both.
So as you can see here, strong sentiments out here. There was
Yeah.
I mean,
that sums it up. Alex Salmon was there for Slate. You guys should read his piece, but he was just saying how the crowd was a little smaller than expected, but their go-to insult was everyone's a pedophile.
What are the tiers?
Pedophile, communist was another.
Oh, yeah.
And I did enjoy the part where they said that people started chanting, "Where is Ron? Where is Ron?"
That's awesome.
That part's awesome.
Actually, if you can infiltrate these and turn them against Ron DeSantis, I think you do a lot of good
You're
work.
an American hero.
Well, what are the two tiers of justice we're experiencing here? Former
Republicans
presidents and
versus
everybody
Democrats.
else?
well, it's two tiers of justice between
MAGA,
former presidents.
Yeah, MAGA and non-MAGA.
That relates to us all.
Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene making the same argument about communism. I mean, this is I don't know if it resonates. I mean, I think it does. I think they just use the word communist in the same way that they use critical race theory. Mm-hmm. I don't even think they use critical race theory. I think they just use the letter CRT, and I'm not even sure if the people who deploy that even are aware of what the CRT stands for. Communism, CRTism, pedophilia all sort of mean the same thing to these people, and it's just like another way of saying bad, but having an expanded having an expanded vocabulary. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Incidentally, I mean, arguably one of the most powerful House members that we have in the country. I mean, you know, she's not officially, but she is one of the most powerful members of our government.
In terms of fundraising numbers, and now she has a lot of clout with the most powerful Republican in the House, Kevin McCarthy, because she helped him get enough votes to remain speaker, and then also like to help get the caucus together for the debt ceiling.
That's a governmental position, and I say that because our government apparently has become communist.
Oh, right.
But yet, here they are, the Biden administration, arresting really their top political opponent and enemy. This is a communist country. We've been taken over. It's not the America that we all thought that we had. We're not a free country anymore. But yet, here.
Very low energy.
Just to be clear, the Jack Smith exists because Durham exists. Right. I mean, like the special prosecutor was given specific powers and independence that was given to Durham, and Jack Smith completely independent from the DOJ, and we will find that out when, if Trump wins, they'll appoint an investigator to investigate the investigation of Trump. You can be assured of that. But that's what's going on. This is where we're at this point. There is no, I mean, it's it's almost as if like, sort of like just any semblance of actual arguments about government have gone out the window. It is all tribalism and identity politics for these people, right? I mean, everybody is either a pedophile or a communist. If you in any way, and this is despite the fact that we have seen all of the biggest defenders of Donald Trump from a legal standpoint come out and say, it's pretty ironclad. I mean, he's in trouble.
He's in trouble with the law. Is he in trouble with his base? No. I saw
that's why they have to perform.
Yeah, I mean, and he killed it at that speech. I mean, not killed it, but like for that crowd, when he says "I am you," that works for them to a certain degree. I don't know if it's enough, but I saw Stephanie Rule on MSNBC last night was saying like he's getting his supporters all riled up, and he'll get donations from them, but he's really scaring off big donors for his race. And I was like, wasn't that kind of the case in 2016?
Right.
Yeah, they'll come back once I knock all these other clowns out.
I'm pretty sure that we understand now as like political analysts that particularly in presidential races, and especially when you were president before, free media is more important than big money donors. And Trump does not have to rely on like the Mitt Romney network to get himself to the nomination. This is a whole different animal. And I don't know. I mean, it's scary to see him get so close to the presidency while being such an anti-democratic freak and an insane person. But I don't know. Like, would we rather have DeSantis?
No.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd rather have Trump.
And the thing that is also, I think, sort of diluted in any way is that the only way this is going to inhibit, and it's the only chances it inhibits is Trump's chances in the general election.
Yeah,
it will take 5 minutes for the Republican Party to line up behind him. It may suppress the vote in the margins, but you're also looking at a Joe Biden who's going to be running, who, I think even the majority of Democrats would rather see somebody else. And you have now at least in terms of like numbers, I think you look at RFK's numbers, hard to deny that the challenge is there, regardless of whether it's just because of his name or not. But for those who think it's just because of his name, and I think that certainly helps. I mean, there's a lot of evidence. I think there was that candidate who ran in Alabama whose name was like something Kennedy, and that guy was like 90% polling at the beginning when he first entered the race. But the tricky part here is that there's going to be very little opportunity for those people who are voting based only on his name and based on the fact that he's not 80 to see anything else. Like, there's not going to be a debate, which, could cut both ways. There's not going to be, it's hard to imagine that national news is going to start having Kennedy on a regular basis and sort of expose, what I think are his problematic views, not just in terms of vaccines, but I find a lot of the positions he's taking, having known Bobby, somewhat, personally, but more like professionally, doing a radio show with him for years, that seemed to be inconsistent with positions that he had, at least as far as I knew them, 10 years ago.
Yeah, was there a hint of the free market stuff?
I mean, no, there wasn't. And now that may be because he just wasn't articulating it at the time, but no, there was always about encroachment on the commons. There was not the sort of lauding of the free market, and there's other issues that I have that are far more expansive than I would have thought really 4 or 5 years ago, even like 2 years ago, frankly. But nevertheless, and I don't think will have enough numbers to challenge Biden in the primary, but it's not inconceivable that he jumps into the general election. and maybe he jumps in some other form. Maybe he becomes a vice president for Trump. I have no reason to believe that would be the case, but I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't be the case. People forget that early on, when Trump was elected, Bobby went and met with Trump at Trump Tower. I think even in the run up to the inauguration, to talk to him about vaccines.
I don't know if this would have any effect. Kennedy joining with Trump, or I mean,
some of the Q people would like it because
they would like it because they think it's. Yeah.
I don't know, but he also could run in third party. I think Cornel West running on the Green Party ticket now, as opposed to he wasn't really with an actual party. I think there's some question as to and I know he was involved in starting the People's Party in some fashion, but the idea that he hadn't done that due diligence to realize, before he got there that there's no party here. But he's going to run on the Green Party ticket. I mean, presuming that they just appoint somebody. I don't know if they do a democratically elected nominee, but I was here for Bush v. Gore.
I get it, but I think that the threat of Trump, how a normie Democrat who would be swayed by the Kennedy name perceives the threat of Trump is completely nullifying, I feel like, for any effect that Bobby Kennedy's going to have on this race.
I would agree. I mean, I'm just saying it's another factor. So, Trump's going to lose people in the general because of these indictments. But it's not like Biden's a juggernaut to begin with. And again, 40,000, 50,000 votes, I think it was, in 2020 across 3 states.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of, people not coming out or, third party things. Again, I remember 2020. And so, 2000 rather. And that was not good.